Oh, okay, so you got me finishing up the last of my bowl of turkey dressing. Yeah, that's right. The dressing that we had for Thanksgiving this week. Just finished up Thanksgiving. I love leftovers. Those of you that are international watching this, you most likely, unless you're Americans who are overseas, expats, you most likely don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but it's one of our big holidays over here in the U.S. and we just had it. It's great. You get to pig out, get fat, for a good cause. Good cause. I don't know what that means. Anyway, hey everybody, Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's dad and marketing gunslinger. Welcome back to another one of my weekly uncopyable business programs. And this week I want to talk about, got a nice little title, 2 ways to measure lead quality and potential. Now we've all done lead ratings. We meet people at networking functions, we go to trade shows, we get business cards. And after we're done talking with somebody, we might take that business card and write down on the back, are they, an A lead, a B lead, a C lead, or something like that. And so let's kind of just talk a little bit about that to be a little bit more efficient, a little more effective in gathering those and what we should do with them as we move on. Now, first of all, let's define the difference between a prospect and a lead. Okay, a prospect is somebody who fits the first part of the lead quality definition, and the first part is what is the profile of the target that we are looking for. In some cases, you might think of is there an avatar persona that we can develop so that we say, all right, we're looking for this particular type of person. And it can be as simple as just having something like okay, well, the simple definition is, who are they? All right. And you might break it down into several different parts. So like the first part, again, like I said, whoops, let me get my thing going here, is profile. Okay, and the profile, it could be something like, and you can certainly come up, with your own definitions here, but it might be the industry that you're in. So, for example, even if you're in the manufacturing community, which a lot of you are, you might be in, even within that, you're in a different. You might work in different types of industries, like aerospace or automotive or medical or something like that. So the industry could be, one of these things. It could be the company size that you're looking for. The size as far as dollars that they spend, or the size as far as employees that they have. Do they have multiple locations? Things like that. And that, of course, can be something. Location. It could be a geographical description on your part. Then we're also looking for maybe the type of person who we want to be talking to. So, so what is their job, and not necessarily their title, but are they involved in? Are they the decision maker? Are they the user of the product? Maybe they might even be the person who writes the check. That might be somebody different, or some other type of influencer. And we want to define these ahead of time. And this stuff is pretty, we all get this, right? This is something we all understand, and typically this is how we would want to start to define somebody before we go looking for them. And if we are talking to somebody, we kind of go through this little checklist in here to see, do they fit this, and this? And if they fit, like if we were to look at this and say, all right, we've got, 4 different parts to this. If they fit all 4 of these, well, then they now qualify as a high quality prospect. That's what they are. They're a prospect, because prospects fit the profile of our target market. Now, the second part is what we could call, and we'll draw a line right down here, and we say, and this is part number one, and this is the demographic part. We might even add something. Let me throw this in here too. Is we might even add something in here where, the challenges that company has, that person has, that type of thing, or a particular type of pain or problem that they might have. And if we can identify that they have that, along with that they fit a certain profile, then again, the more of these that they have, the more of these that they fit, the higher quality of the prospect that they are. They're still not a lead. They're just a prospect. In order to become a lead, they have to have, this side, and then they also have to have this side. All right, and this side is, we'll say behavior. Behavior. And essentially what this means is, if we think in terms of interest, versus no interest, or a level of interest, what type of interest might they have, and the connection and the engagement that we get with them. So like, for example, if you meet somebody and you figure out that they do fit the profile of your target market, and then as you kind of indicate, hey, I might have a solution to your problem, do they show an interest? Do they raise their hand and say, yes, I am interested? So the level of interest that they have is really is really the top indicator of are they a good lead or not? Because just because they fit the profile does not mean they're a good lead. It means they're a good prospect. But if they have no interest whatsoever, if they show no interest in engaging with us, no interest in talking to us, they just don't show it, right? Then we've got nothing. We've got nothing until somebody shows an interest and they raise their hand and they say, yeah, I am interested in talking to you. Now, that level of interest, see, if you are talking to them personally, then you can probably identify whether they might have a level of interest with you or not. But what if you're not talking to them? What if you're communicating via the internet, and and you're advertising, or you're doing trade ads, or you're offering assessments, or you're offering white papers, or things like that? Well, that can be measured as a level of interest, because we could say that the activity by that person could show that. So for example, do they, if you have a webinar, do they register for the webinar? And then that shows a level of interest. Now, then when you have the webinar, do they attend the webinar? That shows another level of interest, a higher level of interest. Do they stay through the whole webinar? That's another level of interest, right? Do they watch the, if they didn't attend it, do they go watch the archived replay? That's a level of interest. And if they do, we can say, hey, yeah, their activity, they are showing an engagement with us, and they are showing a higher level of interest. So the type of behavior that we're looking for. It could be that they take a survey, or some type of an assessment from us. Anything that they would do, that they would provide us with their email. Okay, and also, what determines a level of interest via just activity would be the frequency of their activity with us. I mean, do they download more than one white paper? Do they attend a webinar and then also sign up for another webinar afterwards? And so what happens is that when they do show a level of interest, and you know what, you could use any type of measurement here. to say, it used to be we would go the quality of a lead was A, B, C, D or something like that. So you could say, all right, from a profile perspective, the A client, A prospect, definitely they just hit all cylinders with us, right? And so they are an A prospect. And then somebody who shows high level of interest, whether we've met with them in person, we've talked to them on the phone, maybe they've emailed us, maybe they've responded to an online form. Come on, online form. Again, that is now saying I'm interested. Okay, I'm interested. So if you got both the profile and the level of interest is being high, and you could say, all right, on a scale of 1 to 3, 1 to 4, something like that, 1 being highest, 4 being low, right? And so if somebody fits everything on the profile, they're an A. And then if they show a high level of interest, they're an A1. And if they're an A1, that is an indication of, this is probably somebody who's sales ready. Okay, so now here's the thing about this, is that if I were to hand you 10 people who fit the profile of your target market, but you did not know what their level of interest was, what would you say your typical closing rate would be? Well, for the most part, the answer is you don't know, because it's sort of like cold calling. Now you could say, all right, I'm defining my target market. I'm defining my moose out there, and then I'm going to go start knocking on their doors. And then you could say, all right, I'm going to close, I'm eventually going to close 10%, 20% of those people. Because within that, you still have to get their interest. You still have to find their interest out, and then find out if they're sales ready, and then move on to close. All right. But what if I were to hand you 10 people who, number one, they fit the profile of your target market very well, and number two, they showed a high level of interest, a high level of engagement with you. Now, maybe not perfect, maybe they're not sending a form saying contact me right now, but they are attending a webinar. They are downloading white papers. And so they are showing an engagement. Now, let's say I sent you those. Now, don't you think if I sent 10 people who had that profile and have shown an indication of interest, don't you think that your closing rate will be higher? I got to believe it would be a lot higher. I would venture to say that if you found somebody who fit the profile and who said, yep, I have this problem, I have this challenge, I am interested in how you can help me solve this, you're probably going to close them, right? Imagine if you had 10 of those. How many are you going to close? So you see, it really, really makes a lot of sense for you to work hard to get that second part. Because the first part means, if they're profile, they're a prospect. They're not a lead until they've raised their hands or they've shown a level of engagement, a level of activity that would indicate that they have an interest. So that's the big stuff there. I know that in some places this is lead scoring, and you can look at it from like lead scoring, but just for most of us, let's just sit down and think about this harder. That can we do things that help people to raise their hand so that we can find those people and we can go follow up with those people, because our closing percentages are going to go way, way up. This is Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's dad and marketing gunslinger. Thanks again for joining me this week. I had my glasses on the whole time, but that's okay. So thanks again for joining me this week, and I'll be back again next week for another thrilling episode of Uncopyable Business. And until then, always remember, be uncopyable. See ya.